Kieran Malhorda, the CEO of an entertainment company, was acting like he did any other day by taking out his stress on a subordinate. He was a half-gangster boss, not a full gangster, but not just a normal citizen either. He often liked to call his co-workers and banter with them. He would attack the young interns in their 20s by insulting and harassing them. He even secretly sexually harassed female employees. People would question why there was still sexual harassment going on today. Since sexual harassment had been heavily criminalized, however, in the year 2020, India suffered from record high levels of unemployment due to a long-term recession. From the perspective of the workers, they had to endure harassment if they did not want to lose their jobs. And Kieran Malhorda was cunning and sly with his harassments. Making it a bit too foggy for a formal accusation, it was fair to say that at this point, he had reached a professional level with his harassments, and Kieran Malhorda's target for the day was an intern who had been employed for 10 months. The poor intern, whose position in the company was still not guaranteed, had to endure Kieran Malhorda's quest to find fault in all that he did. His choice was understandable since he had spent a year of his golden years being an intern in this company and could not let it all go to waste. It was a common thing in these times for young people to spend all their 30s moving from internship to internship. Kieran Malhorda, how can you be a permanent employee working like that? What do you have, like 1 or 2 months left of your internship? You don't want to get the full-time offer. Kieran Malhorda's specialty was to manipulate subordinates with their weak points. Those who were candidates for promotion were threatened with losing their promotions, and those who were interns were threatened with the loss of full-time offers. Kieran Malhorda, you are making it difficult if you are going to act like this. There are so many people who can work. If I put up an internship spot right now, at least 50 applications will be submitted. You know that, right? Kieran Malhorda flashed a nasty smile and threatened the poor intern while the other employees pretended to be immersed in their work in fear that Kieran Malhorda might come for them next. One wrong move, and their day might just be hell. Kieran Malhorda, I chose you despite your poor test scores and mediocre education, because I felt sorry for you. And before he could finish his sentence, Kieran Malhorda stopped because an unimaginable thing came out of the intern's mouth. Karen Chan, stupid, foolish, idiots. The intern of 10 months, Karen Chan, smirked and mumbled. A deafening silence filled the room. What did he just say? I misheard, right? A couple of female employees whispered amongst themselves. Kieran Malhorda, what? Hey, Karen Chan, what did you just say? Stupid and foolish? Do you want to lose your job? Kieran Malhorda roared, blood rushing to his face and neck. Even a worm squirms when stepped on, and Kieran Malhorda, who had been told off by a worm, was overcome in anger. Oh, Karen Chan seemed surprised to see Kieran Malhorda, as if he just noticed the angry man standing there. You idiot, what did you just? Karen Chan, shut up and be quiet. Arg, my head is killing me. And with those words, Karen Chan clenched his head in pain and left the office, not giving a second glance at Kieran Malhorda, who was roaring in anger. Kieran Malhorda, what is that idiot doing? Kieran Malhorda's voice rang in the office that Karen Chan had left. The poor employees who had been left behind worriedly looked at each other. Karen Chan, who had left the office, headed straight for the bathroom. Ouch. His head hurt badly. It was as if someone was hitting his head with an axe, and he felt as if he was going to vomit. He rushed to the sink and turned the tap on. He tried to splash his face with cold water to ease his headache. Water, as cold as ice, poured from the tap. Karen Chan shoved his face into the sink as soon as the water began to flow. Oh, he groaned. His face felt as if it would explode from the cold, but he did not care. He would do anything for the headache to go away. His pain subsided after almost 10 minutes in the cold water, but that was not the end. Vomit from deep within threatened to explode out, overcoming him with nausea. Karen Chan ran to the toilet, grabbed the sides, and everything exploded out. He vomited again and again, and when there was nothing more to throw up, he vomited stomach acid and anything left after that. He struggled in the bathroom for about an hour and was finally able to stand. Sigh. And when Karen Chan let out a long sigh and looked in the mirror, there stood a pale-faced, 28-year-old man. Karen Chan. It was the same face from 10 years ago. Karen Chan flashed a wry smile, and the poor intern who, until an hour ago, had received all sorts of harassment was no more. All that remained was the Lord Slayer Overlord, Karen Chan, who had reigned over Baralok and made his enemies cower in fear. The time is right, too. Karen Chan's face flashed with satisfaction as he checked the date on his smartphone. Karen Chan, it was the year 2020, November 6th, 2 months before the Great Summoning. He had returned to the past. Well, technically, it wasn't that he had returned to the past. Soul Backup. Soul Backup was a skill that, upon death, transferred his current memories to the past and was only exclusive to him as an Overlord. And in this resurrection through Soul Backup, he avoided the time paradox while gaining a chance to change the future. Karen Chan, I must be cautious from this point on. I have no more chances now. If I die, it's over. Karen Chan repeated this warning to himself over and over again. Karen Chan, quite obviously, Soul Backup was a skill that can be used only once. Karen Chan, if it could be used more than once, it would have been called a loop instead. Anyways, as long as he chose to use Soul Backup once, everything would be over if he died again. This unprecedented power would never be used again and had disappeared forever. However, Karen Chan's face flashed with confidence. After all, of course it would. He had already experienced the future, and Karen Chan would be reborn as a stronger Overlord with his past experiences and mistakes behind him. All the trials and errors, as well as threats of death, would be no more, and a few of his fatal mistakes, such as his rashness and disregard for key individuals, as well as his negligence regarding information and intellect, would never be repeated again. I will be an unstoppable Overlord, complete and without error. As Karen Chan clenched his fists and assured himself, a fiery pain stabbed him in the middle of the heart. He grabbed his chest and clenched his jaw. Wrathy, you cockroach. The origin of the pain was a painful memory. His body was that of a young 28-year-old man, but his mind still remembered the pains of the past, the humiliation of being defeated by an enemy he had stomped on over and over again. His neck burned where his head had been severed, and the memory had sent chills down his spine. I will crush you, even more than before, until you beg for death. Karen Chan's eyes burned with vengeance. It was said that the one who struck forgot, but the one who was struck could never forget. Karen Chan was like that. He was not a man who would forget his enemies, and he would only be satisfied by returning tenfold. No, 100 times worse than what was done to him. In his fiery thoughts of vengeance towards Wrathy, another face emerged in his thoughts, the strategist Lakshman Mehra. Lakshman Mehra, would he choose Wrathy once again? If he could not have him, he would break him to pieces until one could not even recognize what he once was. That was Karen Chan's way. It was then, as he was overcome with the thoughts of his enemies, that a thin, low voice called him, Mr. Karen. He turned his head and saw a female co-worker, Ria Chaitrani, poking her head in the door and looking at him. Are you okay? You look sick. Ria Chaitrani's face looked worried. It was obvious that she was sincerely worried about him. There was no other reason as to why she would come looking for him in the bathroom and after he had been in there for an hour. No one had come out of fear of Kiran Malhotra, the CEO. I am completely fine, Karen Chan answered with a leisurely smile. First, I look crazy though. Sorry, give me a minute. He excused himself and took off his suit jacket that had some water and vomit residue. Throwing it in the trash can, he took some water in his hands, washing his mouth and slicking back his hair. He undid his tie and threw it away as well, and he looked more presentable. Mr. Karen, yes, the CEO is very angry. He is threatening to fire you immediately. Let him do what he wants, but you persevered well for the last 10 months. If you beg the CEO to forgive you, no. Karen Chan stopped Ria Chaitrani mid-sentence. A man should never beg, but a man should never beg anyone aside from his parents. I also don't have any intention to cower under that scum. Mr. Karen, I should pack my things and leave. Actually, his eyes lingered on his smartphone. It's perfect timing since we are almost done for the day. Karen Chan flashed his signature smirk and passed Ria Chaitrani in to leave the bathroom. No, if you go in now, why? The CEO is waiting for you with a golf club, threatening to kill you if you come back. Kiran Malhotra, who ran with gangsters for a bit a while back, had the habit of creating a fearful atmosphere with golf clubs when he was angry. And oh, is he really? Karen Chan snickered. The fat pig with a beer belly that sexually harassed for a living was coming for him. With a golf club, it was funny to even imagine. Well, at least I won't be bored. What? Mr. Karen, what are you saying? You will really get hurt. You know how he is. Stop. I will take care of it. So, stop. Karen Chan assured Ria Chaitrani with a gentle voice. and he calmly passed her and walked towards the office.